About 14 faculty went over to China, northern China. We went to Beijing, Dalian, Xi'an. But the main purpose was to visit some universities in Dalian because we have established a relationship with some of the colleges and universities there.
We had relationships with 3 different universities, and so we had set up some meetings, and so different faculty might be at different universities. Probably the largest number of us were at Dalian.
We wanted to develop professional relationships with scholars and teachers in China, and we also wanted to get a sense of their teaching practices, also student learning styles, the classroom environment, things like that.
My specific purpose in going to China was to get acclimated to the culture. We have been working on delivering our Master of Public Health program at a university in China for several years.
I thought what a wonderful opportunity to look at comparative economic and political systems. So that's why I was really interested in that.
We have a lot of partner institutions in China. We also have more and more Chinese international students coming to Benedictine, so we thought it would be a really great way to kind of establish some personal connections with faculty and students in China and, strengthen the university's ties with the institutions there. So
my purpose was to visit art programs, professors, to get to know what they do, how they teach their courses. My intention was to go there with like a tabula rasa, a clean slate. I had no expectations whatsoever, and I enjoyed that.
I'd been to other countries before on other continents, so I expected differences, and China has its own unique differences. The size of the population, the land mass, for one thing, is very impressive.
I really wanted to actually interact with faculty and students. I was hoping kind of to really feel like I was part of the academic community there for a little bit. So
there's this huge discourse about changes in China, what's happened over the last 20 years, and then how the fast pace of change and the technology, the growth of consumer culture, the migration to urban centers. So I think there's a lot of interest in seeing this culture in transition, and that was part of my expectations, that what would things look like? Are we going to see the old and the new side by side? And my sense is that we really did see this culture in transition, and things are happening very quickly in China.
I think that increasingly in this global society, we truly need to be exposed. If we can come back and talk about our experiences, we can motivate students to go.
The world is becoming increasingly global, and we do have more and more partnerships with foreign universities, and of course we have a lot of students coming to study here from China, so most faculty members at some point in their career have Chinese students in class. We also teach courses that make our own domestic students more aware of sort of the forces of globalization that are happening in the world, and so I think it's really important to actually go and experience this for yourself as opposed to having this purely academic point of view.
We have this very exciting global initiative on campus, and as a teacher, I'm a firm believer that you can't ask students to do what you're not willing to do yourself, and so I think it's important for us as faculty to experience new cultures, cultural environments, challenges as teachers, as scholars, and I think for us to go to Dalian Nationalities University as teachers and scholars, it was a tremendous learning experience for us, and it's one that we want to be an example for students who are also going to be going abroad.
The change in the society is absolutely visible. High-rises going up next to small ancient buildings, and people dressed in traditional clothing next to people dressed in much more westernized clothing. And you could see the changes going on with two kinds of societies growing and living side by side.
It definitely made me feel more connected to my Chinese students in particular, because I feel like now I kind of know a little bit of where they're coming from. I've seen their classes. And I can talk to them about my trips to China, so they really feel like I'm someone, who cares about their culture, who tries to find out more, who's learning as well, because I obviously don't know much about Chinese culture even after those 2 trips, so, I can kind of ask them intelligent questions about it. And a lot of my students write a lot about the differences between education in the US and education in China, so now I feel like I can have a more informed point of view.
I visited one class where the students were doing traditional Chinese landscape painting, brush ink painting, that went back for centuries in past dynasties. And we title this kind of painting literati painting in that tradition. And these students were emulating styles from the past. And this was encouraged by their teachers. And so I saw this respect for the past, respect for tradition, and trying to maybe revive this ancient form of painting that, in China is changing rapidly. And so I found this encouraging.
I mean, it's clear to me that they appreciate what we bring to their university. They love our pedagogical insights. They're interested in how we're teaching U.S. students and also international students coming into our university. They've always been very appreciative of our contributions to their knowledge base. And I found that their scholars also bring a lot to our campus culture and our curriculum, and we're hoping to further develop that.
I think it has totally enriched the content of my teaching, particularly the humanities courses. I'm much more comfortable making references to Cuba, to China, to other parts of the world because I've experienced it.
I'm sure I will be using examples from the trip to China in my courses in health policy and in public health system, partly to contrast, to let students know that there is not just one system, nor just one approach to public health.
The students, even the domestic students in Benedictine, will in their working lives have to work with people from a lot of different cultures, a lot of different backgrounds. And I think having faculty who has those exchanges with people in other countries and is enthusiastic about them is really, really helpful. I think having faculty who is globally aware, who have those relationships with people around the world is really important.
As the world globalizes, we need to think more carefully about how we can be hospitable in this very expansive way. And I think trying to engage with our international students in deeper ways is a way of developing this hospitality culture on our campus. And my sense is that our students are interested. We want to give them more opportunities to do this. And so as faculty, we want to also have these kinds of global experiences so that we can actually work with our students in making this a truly hospitable campus culture.
Visiting the Great Wall, that you can't comprehend it until you see it, because it is such a magnificent thing.
The professor who invited me and that I worked with, he's chair of the English department. He is also an extremely well-known calligrapher in China, and he's won awards. And so on my first visit, he made this calligraphy for me, and it's actually my name, and it's kind of that I was, in memory of my trip to China. So this is personal to me because it's his work, and it's a commemoration of my visit.
I was privileged to have a tour of the hospital that's affiliated with Dalian Medical University and went into various departments there and met faculty from other parts of our university as well as the universities in China. So in the arts and literature and history, that was a bonus.
For me, it was really talking to students and faculty informally. It was really wonderful, and actually we discovered that we had a lot more things in common than we'd originally thought, so it was really wonderful to see, like I said before, to kind of feel like I was, part of the academic community there.
My best memory is that of teaching. I would say all of us in this group love teaching. We have a passion for teaching, and it was both familiar and different at the same time. Some of us said we felt right at home when we walked into the Chinese classroom, but at the same time we saw differences. And so working with the students was really a lot of fun. These were high energy classes, and so I enjoyed that very much. It was very memorable.